Hey guys, how's it going? I'm recording from my new office that I haven't finished moving into yet. Um, yeah, I wanted to upload a video, and I always say this, and it never is, but I'll try to keep it brief. But I basically wanted to do a video just giving you guys an update on sort of team updates, the project itself, sort of some general thoughts about NFTs, crypto, this recession we're in, and I'm not really going to speculate much on what I think is going to happen, but I just want to, yeah, I just got kind of give you guys a full update. I know there's been a bit of anxiety, a bit of worrying about the current state of the project, which, to be completely honest, I think is a little dramatic. We just did Preds, I think, still less than a month ago, and we're still building, so don't panic. But I did get quite a few DMs over the last 24 hours or so after the last announcement, where I just kind of gave you guys an update on the team. And I think that scared some people for, again, some reason I don't totally understand. So yeah, I want to just clear up a few things and give you guys. Sorry, let me put on Do Not Disturb here. Give you guys a few updates and hopefully, just reassure you that everything's fine. We're still here and we're still building. Like nothing has really changed, other than the fact that we are in a recession. And it could turn out to be a pretty brutal recession. I'm not an expert, but I have some thoughts and opinions on things. I won't try to get too much into that, but yeah, there's a lot going on in the world right now, guys. A lot of uncertainty, and yeah, I'm sure you guys know, uncertainty is really bad for markets in general. But yeah, so in yesterday's announcement, I mentioned that James and Chapman, that's Art and Geek, are both looking for jobs. They're both applying for jobs. By the way, it's not hard for either one of them to get jobs. They're both sort of top tier talent in their respective fields. So we get job offers on a pretty regular basis. We all three have a pretty robust network and so on. But they're applying for jobs, and the reason why is because, once again, we are in a recession. I don't know if you've noticed, but ADA is at 50 cents. And my personal opinion is that it's going to go much, much lower before things start to get better. Things are going to get worse before they get better. That's my belief. I think it will most likely do that. And so, living off of ADA, especially on a project where we don't really charge for things, like, uh, it's not super feasible. So I was, most people just reached out, like in the last 24 hours. There have been a few people who DM'd who were like, oh, what does this mean for the project? And it means one thing: we're just going to be going a little bit slower. We have to make sure that we're taking care of our own families and so on. And if we can't do that based off of only working within the NFT space right now, then the only option is to get a job. So I've actually been begging both of them to get a job since the beginning of this year. I don't think anyone knew exactly when the recession was going to sort of, or the impacts of recession were gonna take hold. But we're definitely at that point now where we're starting to see unemployment numbers creep up. We're starting to see people layoffs at very large, massive tech companies. The cost of food and just general things, day to day necessities, is starting to go up. There is a food shortage in many parts of the world. Slight anecdote here, but on Saturday, some of my friends that were helping me move, it's a married couple, they have kids, and we loaded up the truck at the old place. When we got to the new place, before we even started unloading the truck, they like immediately beeline for the grocery store across the street from us because they were looking for baby formula. And I had heard that there is a shortage of baby formula, which is kind of terrifying. But I don't have a baby, so I didn't really think too much about it. But that's people I know, and not in some super remote region in the Amazon forest. This is literally in the middle of Denver, and they can't get baby formula. So it's kind of scary. Um, so yeah, them getting a job is literally just to make sure that things are stable and secure for themselves and their families. And again, most people who reach out were really cool. And it's not like I got an overwhelming amount of DMs, but there were more than, let's say, more than 6 people who reached out who had concerns. And one person in particular was like, well, this just means you guys are going to go slower than every other project. They were like disappointed with us or something. And so I wanted to, more than anything else, upload this video to give you guys an update. But I want to make it very, very clear about what Derp Birds is about and what we've been about from the beginning. It's not about people getting massively, obscenely rich off of Derp Bird NFTs. Again, we've said from the start. I remember I think it was the first interview I did with Jay Crypto. I said, like, if someone gets rich from Derp Birds and they're able to buy a yacht, awesome. But that's not the objective of the project. The objective has been to build something fun, community centric, and to showcase what could be done on Cardano with NFTs. Because at the time, we didn't feel like a lot of projects were doing that. More projects are doing that now, but we still think there's a lot that could be done, a lot to achieve. And so those were the 3 goals of the project. If you have been misled in any way to believe that the project is about something else, I will apologize for that, but it's never been the objective of the project. The objective of the project has been to build something fun, that's community-centric, that can showcase, to do fun, innovative things on Cardano. That's what the project is about. That's what we're about as a team. That's it. So if you disagree with that, or it's not what you thought it was going to be, then we don't want to lose anyone out of the community. We love everyone that's a part of the community, even toy bots. But that's what the project is about. And so I wanted to go on record being very clear, just to let you know that is what the project is about. I've just said that phrase like 10 times. I'm going to try not to say it again. So yeah, it was important for us to say that. Beyond that, right? I wanted to clarify about yesterday's announcements. Like, of course, they're getting jobs, but I did want to say that there's some cool potential for. Oh my God, I have 2 computers here, and both of them are blowing up. I mentioned in the announcement, and I don't want to mislead anyone, but I mentioned in the announcement that Chapman is looking potentially at like IOHK for a job, which would be really cool. It'd be really cool for him to be doing things not only still related to crypto, but Cardano specifically. And then James is interviewing for positions at Coinbase for their NFT sort of platform. And I know people have mixed feelings on Coinbase, but as do I. But it's very cool that those are related to crypto and to NFTs specifically. And there's some obviously pretty cool advantages, strategic advantages that might potentially give us. Oh my God. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. But I did want to just let you guys know. Yes, we're here. Of course, we're still building. But on the front of employment and so on, like, yeah, given the way that markets are going, NFT markets, crypto, broader macro, economic landscape and what's happening with recession and food shortages, it is the safe, intelligent, conservative thing to do to make sure that you have a stable, secure income and that you're able to take care of your family, pay your rent, and so on. So yeah, I've been begging for them to get jobs for a while, and I hope this is of no concern to anyone, or no major concern to anyone. It does mean things are going to be delivered a little more slowly, but I mean, to date, we've done, I think, quite a bit in the space. Yeah, and again, someone in a DM yesterday was like, yeah, they commented just on how slow they think that we are. And I guess I don't see it, because compared to a lot of other projects, I think we're, at the very, very least, we're on par with most other projects, especially given that we're a team of 3. So yeah, that's an update on the team. Cool. Other things I want to talk about, I just want to give you guys sort of a general update on Derp Birds, on the roadmap, and some other really cool, fun, exciting things we haven't talked too much about yet. So because the white paper has been delayed, given everything else that's going on sort of in our lives right now, I figured it would be fun to give away a few details of things that are going to be included in the white paper. But because you guys who are watching the YouTube video are our sort of core community, I don't feel like it's giving too much away to too big of an audience, and the rest of the audience can wait sort of until the white paper is done. So what I want to talk about is what's coming next. And I think a lot of you guys know, like, we're working towards launching Derp, which is the utility token for the project. And along with Derp is the rework of the achievement system, which we'll talk about here in a second in more detail. But in addition to that, it's also the raffle system that we're working on, which I've talked about it briefly with a few people in DMs. But we haven't really talked about it publicly or anything like that yet. And then there's one more feature as well that I'll get into. So let's talk about those few things. The first one, as I said, we're working towards launching the Derp token. We're not too far out from that. We've had to do, I mean, a lot of you guys have been telling us to launch a token from the beginning of the project. And so we are, we're finally getting there. We finally feel like we're to a place where it makes sense. We didn't want to launch a token. We do see other projects who are like launching tokens and then like there's no use for the token. So we've wanted to wait until the project was at a point where there would be a use, there'd be something that you could do with the token. And we're to that point. We also wanted to make sure that everything was safe and above board, and like we had time to do the research and make sure that it wasn't going to hurt the longevity of the project if we did something really, abruptly or just without putting in the time and effort to really make sure that we were doing something safe. So Derp is right around the corner, and the way that it works, if you don't know, is you earn Derp based off of the XP that you accumulate as a part of the project. And as of today, there are two ways to earn XP. There's chatting in Discord, and there's through achievements. Nothing's really changing with Discord, although some of you, and I would say rightfully so, have had a lot of concerns around like the amount of XP that's earned like for chatting versus achievements. And again, I'd say that's a fair concern to have, though from the beginning we have said the achievement system is a beta, the XP values will definitely change, that this was a starting point. But I just want to, of course, reassure you if you've had concerns around XP from chatting versus achievements, that all of that's going to be balanced. In fact, we are planning to work with a few individuals from the community who have math brains and video game oriented brains to let them balance it. And not only does it help us, right, because it's something that we can get help from the community with, but also it allows us to know that we've had multiple people from the community sort of vet those numbers, and that it feels fair and balanced, like Fox News, that it feels fair and balanced for everyone. So we're gonna rework the XP values. That's a big part of the overworking the achievement system. The other part of this is that we are reworking the way that a lot of the achievements work. So today, there's three types of achievements. There's the participating ones, right, which is like how many times you've incubated, how many pride invasions did you do. There's the socializing, which have to do with sending messages in Discord and reactions in Discord. And then there's the collector achievements, which just have to do with the individual NFTs that you hold. And we're going to rework those collecting achievements quite a bit so that most of them work based off of staking. And some of you will know that we've recently set up the Derp stake pool. So this was one reason why we set that up. But rather than doing traditional staking, we're just going to do sort of a pseudo staking system where all you need to do is delegate the wallet that's holding your Derp related assets. You just need to delegate with that wallet to the Derp pool to get credit for staking. We're doing this for a number of reasons, and I'm going to try not to go into too much detail here, but one, we're doing it because that's sort of the way that Cardano does things, right? Like you don't have to lock up your ADA to get rewards off of it. And so we want to follow that same model. But number two, it would be a nightmare if you have 100 plus Derp assets, even if you have 20 Derp assets, to sign smart contracts for every single one of those, to stake those. And I'm sure we could come up with a clever way to like stake multiple at a time. But it sounds like a lot of work for the end user, for the players, for the collectors, you guys, and for us. And so instead, we've decided to just, as I said, you have your Derp related assets in a wallet. You delegate to the Derp pool, and then as long as that same wallet is one of the wallets you have associated with your Derp Birds account, then you'll get credit for those achievements. So that's one change we're making. But the other change that we're making is that many of those achievements will award XP on a recurring basis. So let's use let's which one do we want to use? The perfect specimen achievement for the OG Derp Birds. I think it's called You're So Perfect. So if you have that achievement, today you get that achievement by having a perfect specimen, and you get a flat amount of XP for having that achievement. With the rework system, you would get a recurring amount of XP every 5 days, every epoch, for having a perfect specimen bird, for having that achievement unlocked. We're taking that one step further because some really good feedback we heard from a lot of collectors, Hoarder, Voix, Ted, a lot of people within the community, was that it doesn't really, it actually sort of sucks that if you have multiple perfect specimens, you still only get one achievement. You only get the XP. So there's no incentive to have multiple, at least not from the achievement system point of view. And so that made a ton of sense. So the way that a part of the achievement system rework will be that for every NFT that you have that satisfies the condition of that NFT, or that satisfies the condition of the achievement, you will get XP for however many of those you have. That was a really weird way of saying that. If you have 5 perfect specimens, you would get the reward for the perfect specimen achievement 5 times every epoch. So that's not just for perfect specimens, by the way. It's for many of the achievements that are sort of singular. So if you have a white Derp Bird, for example, there's an achievement associated with that. If you have 10 of them, you'd get that reward 10 times every epoch. And again, this encourages people to strategically think about, okay, which NFTs do I want to get to maximize the amount of XP that I can earn? Why that's important, and to tie this back to Derp, is you earn Derp based off the XP that you've earned, that you've accumulated. So if you have, and it's right now we're looking at a ratio of like 10-1. So if you have 100,000 XP today, you could, when we launch the token, you'd be able to claim 10,000 Derp starting. And then all of the additional XP that you earn, you'll be able to claim you'll be able to claim Derp against that additional XP that you've accumulated. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, much of the work that we're doing right now is to rebuild the achievement system, to rework it, which, by the way, is something that's interesting to mention, sort of an aside here, is that we've had a few projects recently reach out who want to license the achievement system in some way. So we're thinking about how that would work, and what's right to charge, and what benefits we can sort of pass along to the Derp Birds community when these projects, or if these projects, I should say, go through, if we can work out a deal with these projects. So that's updates to Derp. Again, I'm trying to be very cautious about using the word soon, but Derp is coming up around the corner. But again, the reason why I'm explaining all of this is because it's important to know we're not just launching the token. We're also having to rework the achievement system around it. We're also having to launch the UI, which is already built, for claiming your Derp against the XP that you've accumulated. So all of those things have to go out sort of hand in hand. And then last, we don't want to launch the token without providing a use for the token, because otherwise it's not a utility token and there's no point in launching it. So we want to make sure that there's at least one use. Now, we do think longer term that, not even longer term, like season 2, throughout season 2, there will be multiple uses for the token, of course. And those fall into 2 different categories. One is sort of the specific roadmap features, like the story roadmap. So customizing your pred, buying character slots, which we won't talk about in this video, but there's a lot of it in the white paper. Or you could spend Derp to participate in the faction war. You could spend Derp to send your Derps off on a quest. There'll be a lot of story-specific uses for Derp, but not everyone's into the story, right? If you take a poll of the entire space and everyone who's holding Derp Birds, there are a lot of people who hold them who just don't really care to convert to pred, and they probably didn't use them to incubate, and they don't care about the dynamic of like Derp Birds and Derplings and all of that. They just want some sort of benefit for holding the Derp Bird. And I should start by saying, one, we're not overly concerned. We're not here to build a project that caters to everyone. Derp Birds is what it is because it's what we want it to be, and again, we've already talked about what Derp Birds is about, right? It's fun, it's community centric, and it's supposed to be about showcasing Cardano. We don't really care too much about trying to make everyone happy. However, we did think it would be really cool to deploy a feature that would make it fun for people who aren't super into the story. And so the first major feature we're launching alongside of that is a sort of a raffle system where you can spend your derp on buying raffle entries for other NFTs. So an example of this could be that we, as a project, as a team, we buy a clay NFT, for example, or a space bud, or a dead pixel, or whatever, and you can buy raffle tickets using your derp to win that NFT. Um, so that's something that's coming, and that way, if you don't want to spend your derp on customizing your pred because that's not really what you're into, you still have a reason for accumulating derp, for maybe collecting new derp birds, which will give you new achievements, which will give you more XP, which will allow you to get more derp, which will allow you to buy more raffle tickets, which increase your chance to get one of those NFTs even more. So not only are we going to do that with NFTs, and by the way, it's not always. I don't want to give anyone the impression that, oh my god, every day we're going to post a clay NFT. No, we would go bankrupt really quick if we tried that. So there'll be a mix of like really rare, more valuable NFTs, as well as Derp Birds NFTs, as well as sort of that. When I say second tier, I don't mean in terms of quality of project or anything. I just mean in terms of pricing. The second tier would sort of be like, sort of Goat Tribe or Mokasi or Yumi Universe, like Naru NFTs, for example. They're not quite as expensive as Chilled Kongs and Clays and Space Buds and so on. So there will be a variety of NFTs, right? It's not always just going to be the super rare and valuable NFTs. So that's another thing that we're launching. But in addition to NFTs, we're also going to use this platform for whitelist spots for other projects. And this could be very similar to the NFT raffles. This could be whitelist spots for projects that maybe they aren't super hard to acquire. For some, we have projects reach out to us all the time offering us whitelist positions, but there are existing projects which getting whitelist positions for is much more difficult. And so a part of what we want to do with this is try to work with those projects to get whitelist spots for this raffle system, where we can make them available for those raffle entries available for purchase by using your derp token. So that's the next thing. Now, trying to bring this to an end, and this video is going to be so long. The last piece of the last sort of function or feature that we're trying to launch alongside this raffle system, and timing is going to be difficult here, and it won't all come out together. But what we are trying to roll out together, what we have to roll out together at the same time, is the derp token, is the rework of the achievement system, and is that this first version of the raffle system where you can buy NFTs and potentially whitelist spots. What's coming on the backside of all of that and utilizes everything I've just described. By the way, everything we build, we're trying to build in a way that it can be very modular, and it goes towards allowing us to build other features in the future more quickly. So this raffle system, for example, let's use the achievement system. The achievement system is now, we invested a lot of time and effort into building it. It now needs to be retuned a bit, but all the work is there. And now we can license this achievement system to other projects in the space, and we get to reutilize functionality of that achievement system for multiple features within our own project. This gives us a good ROI, good return on our investment of time, and I should say resources, because we work with front-end contractor. Anyways, I'm going way too far down this topic. Anyways, the point that I'm making is everything that we try to build, we try to make sure that it is reusable, or it's something that we could potentially license to other projects so that we can continue funding our projects, so that we can survive a bear market, and so on. The next feature that I was trying to get to, is customizable preds. I'm so stoked for this feature. Like the gamer side of me is really excited for this feature, and there's so many things that we can do with customizable NFTs. So for example, we might do like a Derp Birds trait pack for pred. So in the story, they've captured a lot of the Derp Birds, and maybe now they've figured out how to weaponize some of those traits. We did that with the deity, the ass cannon. We all call it the ass cannon, but the tail attribute for the deity Derp Bird. We made that an attribute for for the pred. But we'd like to take some of those other attributes, like the Viking axe, for example, or the buff rocket launcher, and make those attributes that you could get for your pred. And so releasing like a Derp Birds weapon pack or traits pack or something, or working with other projects, for example, and doing sort of collaborative traits for pred. All of these things make me very excited. But we want to get that feature online sooner rather than later. Again, it goes back to our goal of showing what can be done, what is doable with Cardano-based NFTs. And so this idea of doing customizable dynamic NFTs, like we're really excited to get this feature online. The other reason why we want to push it out sooner rather than later is we want to add additional utility for Derp. And this is more of that story, sort of the story roadmap feature use. So if you're really into pred and you really want to go gung-ho on customizing your pred, we want to get something out sooner rather than later. So what that looks like, eventually, once faction wars are rolling, once we have questing and boss battles and all of these different things, you may randomly find or earn pred traits or attributes that you could use to customize your pred by participating in those activities. But in the short term, we still wanted to provide a way for people to get those traits that they could customize their pred with. And so we're thinking about using that same raffle system. I shouldn't call it a raffle system at that point. We like to think of Derp Birds as like an arcade. So there's all of these activities and these games that you can play, and you do spend your Derp token there, but you also earn Derp tokens, and you can go to the prize counter, right, just like an arcade, and turn in your tickets for prizes. And so our raffle system, like getting those, like a clay NFT, for example, is like the big gigantic prize that every kid wants at the arcade, maybe. But we want there to be different types of prizes. And so some of the prizes, and where you probably see where I'm going with this, could be unidentified pred gear. So you could buy a random pred gear. You have no idea what it is you're buying. It's gonna be totally random. But you'd be able to buy a piece of pred gear that you could then customize your pred NFT with. And there's a lot of mechanics there, which I want to go really deep on, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to talk too much about it. But that's something that we're working towards as well. And again, it's important to sort of recall something I said a minute ago, where this thing that we're building, that whole interaction that I'm describing, where you could buy an unidentified NFT, there's some process for identifying it. So if you buy it and then you just want to sell it, you're like, hey, I have 5 unidentified pieces of pred gear, I'll sell them to you, and you can roll the dice, and they could be super rare, they could be less rare, less cool attributes, and then using that identified NFT for something, in this case customizing your pred. That's a paradigm that we're introducing to the project that we plan to use for different features, right, for different other elements for the project. Again, there's elements there, when abstracted away from Derp Birds, could be used for other projects. It could be licensed and utilized for other projects. So that is a quick update on sort of the immediate roadmap, what we're working on. Again, there's many more details in the white paper that's still being worked on, but I wanted to sort of reward you guys with to make up for the delay on the white paper, reward you guys with a bit of information on what's coming next for the roadmap. Coming after all of those things I've described will most likely be Derp Birds 2.0. We have some things we want to talk about with the community, though, on that one. That one's really tricky to manage. So we just want to make sure that we're going to do a thing that you guys, again, hearkening back to our objectives of the project, we want to do things that you guys find fun. And if we talk to you guys about about the 2.0, the rebirth thing, as much as I love it, I want to make sure that it's fun for you guys, the community, and that we're not going to do something that you guys actually aren't into. So that's what will come most likely after all of these other features I've just described, assuming that we were able to come to agreement with you guys. So last thing I wanted to talk about, oh my God, yeah. Last thing I wanted, it's just 29 minutes. The last thing I wanted to talk about is we've talked about sort of the specific Derp Birds roadmap, but I wanted to talk about the other opportunities that we have right now in the space. And I'll give you guys a few details about what those are, but I also want to talk about the reason why they're so important. So right now, and we've had this happen a lot of this happened since January, where projects reach out to us and they need they want to work together in some way. Either they want to use our minting technology, or they need some custom transaction built, or something like that. We've worked with a number of projects. Most notable was Cornucopias, right? They hit us up and we're like, hey, we'd love to work with you guys on minting technology. But we've had in the last, really since the markets have started to get wrecked, we've been getting hit up by a lot of projects who are now more interested than ever in working together. And this week alone, we're meeting with five projects. Yeah, we're meeting with five projects, two of which are top 10 projects who are wanting to work together. They're wanting either they need help with, as I said, with minting technology, or they want to do a really custom sort of mint, or some sort of really custom transaction. So I that is the reason why this is important. I mean, it's really exciting, first of all. But by the way, can we talk about IOHK for a second? Like, IOHK hit us up, and again, we have to be really respectful of that conversation with them. I can't. We're under NDA, or yeah, I have to be very careful about what I say. But how cool is it that they reached out to us? But we're so working, or again, I'm trying not to talk about IOHK. I don't want to get in trouble there. But we've had, again, lots of projects reach out to us recently who are looking for help, as I said, with minting and so on. So the three things, and why I want to tell you guys this is the following. When we talk to these projects, there are three things that we tell them that we need in order to work together. One is, of course, payment and ADA. That's highly negotiable. It depends upon what it is that they're looking to do. But and I'm sure you guys know that's how these things work. Why that's really important for you guys as collectors is because it's what allows us to stay in the space. We can't just keep selling NFTs. ADA's at 50 cents, and like, we can't just keep selling NFTs to make ADA. We need to be able to do other things to earn ADA so we can stay in the space to operate. Lots of projects don't have that ability, and this isn't me pointing fingers or talking badly about other projects, but if your only option to stay in the space is just keep selling NFTs, you're probably not going to be able to survive a bear market. That's just the reality. Like, some projects make a lot of money off royalties, that's not Derp Birds. Like, we definitely do not have that benefit. But so you guys should know, you guys should see the benefit of, okay, Derp Birds, the team is working with other projects, they're earning ADA. This is good because it allows them to stay in the space. So that's one thing that we're asking for is ADA. The second thing that we're asking for, which requires a bit of creativity, is how can we reward Derp Birds holders through this relationship, through this negotiation? So we're looking for benefits for the Derp Birds community, for Derp Birds holders. Not just Derp Birds, Drapes as well, Pred, Derplings, and so on, but Derp holders, I should say. And then lastly, the benefit that we're looking for is a public proclamation or declaration, whatever, an announcement of our working relationship, right, between Derp Birds and other projects, very similar to what we did with Cornucopias. That's really important. And the reason why requires a side story. So we've been talking to Ape Society, which are really cool guys. Like, I don't know why I thought maybe I guess I didn't have a strong opinion before, but they're really cool guys. It's been fun talking to them it's been really fun just chatting with them on Discord. And when they reach out to us, we published a tweet a few weeks ago talking about how projects can survive the bear market and what Derp Birds is doing to make sure that we'll be fine regardless of market conditions. And they saw that tweet. They looked into Derp Birds and like, wow, you guys have done some cool stuff. And I asked them, respectfully, I have no ego about what we've done in this space, but I asked them, how is it? We've been around since September and we have done quite a few things. How is it? Why do you guys think that you haven't heard of us until recently? And they were like, honestly, you guys are just way too humble, way too quiet around the things that you've done, what you've achieved. And that was odd to hear. But I looking back at interviews and looking back at our tweets and stuff, maybe that's the case. Maybe we haven't been vocal enough about what we've been able to do. We haven't really sort of bragged enough about what we've achieved, or really done a good job at showcasing what it is we're capable of doing. So going back to those three things, that third thing being, we'd like a public announcement from these products that we're working with, just so that we're able to continue gaining exposure with NFT collectors, And a lot of collectors don't care. It doesn't make any difference. They're here. Most NFT collectors are literally just in it for the money. But we wanted to we want to make sure that we are putting in the effort to continue marketing the project. And if we're getting to work with top 10, and I don't want to get apparently 3 gigs is the limit on how long I could record for a single video. So this is part 2. What was I saying? Exposure. So we need exposure to other collectors. We need to continue talking about what Derp Birds is doing and what we're capable of doing. And as much as I love surprises and spoilers, it sort of goes against the idea of marketing. So yeah, I think it was Benji who said something like Dave is allergic to buzzwords, and I definitely am, to a fault. Like I don't think Benji meant it either as a compliment. Especially being in sort of a marketing role, like it's not a good way, I guess, to talk about the project. Like that's not a positive thing, and so I need to do a better job about not trying to just go against the grain for the sake of it. So, getting that exposure to other teams, to other projects, and NFT collectors is an important part of marketing the project, obviously. And so working with these other teams, again, you need help with minting? Okay, well, pay us in ADA. And also, how can we find some sort of benefits for the Derp Birds holder through this this working relationship? And then also, let's get a public announcement of how we're working together. That is going to be sort of the requirements of working with other projects. And again, I should say there are a lot of projects who are reaching out to us right now. We're having to be very picky about the projects that we work with and the opportunities we pursue, because there's only so many hours in the day. And not only do we all have to work salaried jobs so we can buy food to feed our families and pay our rent, but we also have to build Derp Birds. And we don't want to have a repeat of what happened earlier this year, where we go so far down the path of pursuing other opportunities that the Derp Birds roadmap begins to suffer. So again, all these things have to sort of work in harmony, which, as I mentioned in the announcement, is why we hired Heidi, or Plan Derp, who I mentioned in yesterday's announcement. She's a project manager. She's wildly badass. And yeah, it is sort of her job to help us organize everything that we need to get done, both in terms of managing community and marketing the project, developing the Derp Birds roadmap, but then also working with these other projects and making sure that we have a timeline around how we're juggling all of these things. So that's the big reason why we would and why we brought on Heidi. At some point, I'm sure we'll do a video and yeah, you guys will meet Heidi, but she's really cool. So that's I think that covers basically everything we wanted to say. There's lots of other little things in there that I wanted to mention, but again, just to quickly recap, Derp Birds is here for a specific reason: to have fun for our community and to showcase what's doable and what's possible on Cardano. That's why we're here. If you are into the project for other reasons, I don't. You're welcome to be here. We love you. We want you to be here. But if you're angry at us for some reason, like you feel like we're not going fast enough or we're not doing things exactly how you would, well, I'm sorry, but we're gonna keep doing things in this way that sort of go towards those 3 objectives. That's what the project is about. There's NFT projects for every reason. And Derp Birds has its reasons for existence, and those are gonna continue being the same reasons. And I should say, if you're measuring the project for those things, I think we've done a decent job at them. We have built something that's fun. It is fun. It may not be fun. That's a subjective term. It may not be fun for everyone, but for those of us who are into the projects, if you're watching this video, chances are you think it's fun. Then we've done that. We have built something that's community centric, right? There are factors there. We have built an awesome community. So many of you I now consider friends, and we have a very strong, close-knit community. And while other Discords may be more active for periods of time, and while other projects may even have more active communities, that doesn't mean that we have failed on that front. We have built a very strong community. And we know that many of you guys have made friends with each other, and that's one of the things we set out to do. And then number 3, we have showcased what is doable on Cardano, right? From multisig, Alessandro recently tweeted about policy, projects or collections that had no time lock on them. That tweet blew up. That is what Pred is. Pred is a collection that has no time lock on it, which allows you to do, and I don't remember the exact wording in Alessandro's tweet, but he talked about what would allow you to do dynamic and customizable things. That is exactly what Pred is. And I think to talk a little bit more about, like, have we really accomplished goal number 3? I think very strongly we have. We've done things like, again, like the achievement system. We now have projects who are reaching out to us who are interested in licensing that or working with us in some way for the achievement system, because they see that that's something that they hadn't thought of doing. That's something you could do on Cardano. To take that further, and this sounds really arrogant, but I'm trying to, I guess, be better at marketing. When IOHK has the thought like, oh, how could we do this, or is this possible? They booked time with Derp Birds, right? They came to talk to us. And guys, again, I can't share much, but it was such a fun call. Like, hearing them ask questions and take notes, and then, like, they would ask Chapman a question, like, is this possible? And he's like, yeah, we've already done that. So it was a really fun call to be in. But then beyond that, we actually have projects who are reaching out to us who aren't even building on Cardano yet. They are evaluating, do they want to go to Solana? Do they want to go to Cardano? Or, like, where are they going to build their NFT, their game, or their metaverse or whatever? And when they arrive, I don't want to give the impression it's hundreds of projects that this is the case for. But when they are evaluating Cardano, one way or another, they hear about Derp Birds and they reach out to us, and they're like, yeah, we think we might want to build on Cardano. We're a gaming studio. We have this many people on the team. And how would minting work for our game, based off of your expertise? That's really cool. So I can say definitively that the 3 things we set out to do, we have done. We've accomplished those goals. So again, that's what the project's about. Just I wanted a chance to basically sort of clear the air and say that's what our project is about. I wanted to give you guys an update on the roadmap, which I did, and sort of what's coming in the short term. And then 3, just make sure that you guys know that behind closed doors, in the background, whether or not we are making progress on the Derp Birds roadmap every single day. By the way, we are on almost every single day. We are building something for Derp Birds. But in addition to that, we are meeting with so many projects and teams around helping them with their project in some way. And I've already talked about what's important for us there. It's earning ADA so we can stay in the project for a long period of time. It's securing benefits for you guys, our community, and it's number 3, continuing to gain exposure for Derp Birds as a project, and of course our team's capabilities. So that's the update. I'm terrified to see how long this video is, how long this recording is. But yeah, if you guys enjoy this, then smash the like button and subscribe. No, if you guys enjoyed this, please let me know, because I'm considering trying to do these on a more regular basis. They don't all have to be as long as this video is going to be, but I would love to do this on a regular basis if you guys find them enjoyable. We have Discord announcements, which are sort of the shorter, more succinct and direct updates, but these videos do allow me the chance to give you guys some really intricate details of what we're doing with the project, how the team is doing, and so on. So if you enjoyed it, please let me know. It really helps to know that we're doing things that the community appreciates and you guys enjoy. So with that being said, love you guys, and yeah, we'll talk to you later.